Now let's discuss long questions and answers of this exercise. First question which we have here is, write a note on the character of Noshirwan. Noshirwan was the king of Persia who was famous for his justice, equality and honest treatment with his subjects. He was of the view that so much cruelty and oppression did not prevail in the world initially, but over time its intensity increased because of the authoritative people who did not practice justice and made use of their power. According to him, if a king eats one apple from the garden of any of his subjects without paying him, his slaves would pull down the whole tree. In this way, he would be responsible for propagating the custom of making use of force and ignoring the due right of the subjects. In order to discourage this practice, he set up an example in front of his people by paying for the salt that he got from one of the villagers. The second question is, what should be the role of a king? The king should be an honest, wise, and just person because the responsibility of an entire state rests upon his shoulders. He should be selfless and should not make use of his power in order to achieve his agenda. Moreover, his decisions should be impartial and they should reflect his wisdom and honesty towards his subjects. He should treat the people with equality, provide equal chances for progress, and abstain from oppression and dictatorship, allowing the people to live freely. His honesty should rest with the state affairs and he should make efforts to work towards the peace and prosperity of the state. Third question is, can an unjust king flourish? The answer is, an unjust king can never flourish as his justice would give rise to rebellion and unrest in the society. He can never win the hearts of his subjects. His dishonesty will lead to outrage amongst people against his reign, and he will lose his supporters with time and his government will become weak. His country can never make progress and his injustice eventually gives rise to a revolution among the people which will end his tenure. In short, the prosperity of the people depends upon the honesty of the king to a great extent. Fourth question is, what moral lesson do you get from the second tale? The second tale of the Gulistan of Sadi by Sheikh Sadi revolves around the idea that how the morals and virtues of a king can influence his people. In this parable, the king of Persia, Noshirwan, who was famous for his justice, equality and honest treatment with the subjects, sets an example of justice and equality in front of his people by paying for the salt that he gets from one of his people. He believed that if he does not pay his subjects, he would be responsible for propagating the custom of making use of force and ignoring the due right of the subjects. Fifth question is, compare and contrast the three tales. All the three tales revolve around the common theme that the morals and virtues of the kings affect their people a lot. So the prosperity of the people is dependent upon the virtues of the king. The more unjust the king is, the more trouble his country will be. First tale is about a Persian slave who does not understand the value of safety until he is exposed to the fear of death. The second story is about Noshirwan, the king of Persia who believed in justice and equality, whereas the third parable is about a king who exploits his subjects and is ready to sacrifice the life of an innocent boy in order to cure his own disease and realizes his mistake later. The last question is, describe an event in which the trouble of one person affects the others. The answer is, in our everyday lives, we come across many events where the trouble of one person affects the others. For example, my uncle's information technology company sales declined last year due to his absence as he had gone abroad for the treatment of his heart ailment while he handed over the business matters to his only son. His lack of interest in the business matters affected the company's reputation and sales, as a result of which the company had to bear the severe financial loss and eventually went bankrupt. Due to the company's financial crisis, the wages of the employees got delayed and the poor labor had to face a very hard time. In this way, the carelessness of a single person brought trouble to his family and workers both. So dear students, we are done with long questions and answers as well. I hope you have understood all these answers very well. Thank you.